Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Action Cinema Extra Dose presents. Today's feature is Black Hawk Down, the extended edition. This is your first time to Action Theater. Ooh, ooh, whoa. Mega reverb. Okay, that took care of that. Anyways, as I was saying, uh, we can't actually show these films as much as we would like to. This is your first time catching. The movie will only be here available to you in the live commentary watch along. We regretfully inform you because of the we're not major network and we don't have Daddy Warbucks money, so we cannot provide the film for you if you're catching this on the replay. I regret to inform you you will have to find your own copy. Without further ado, with me is my partner in crime, Deleted Scenes. How you doing this afternoon?
Fair to partly cloudy. How are you?
Good, good, good. Ready to
Uh,
watch Black Hawk Down as part of our Memorial Day month, remembering those who served and didn't come back. So, hello, DJ Plain Eyes. Good to see you. Thank you. Anyway, we have the link pinned to the top of the chat. There it is. Should be on both of our channels. That's the link. And if you want to follow us over there, we will start the film. Uh, is there anything you want to say prior to the beginning deleted scenes?
yes. This is, of course, based on a true story. The Battle of Mogadishu, where a group of uh, Army Rangers and got involved in what was originally supposed to be this very simple snatch and grab of a Somalian warlord, and of course it becomes this 36 day, no, sorry, not day, 36 hour long battle. And of course, this being a film, there are things that are condensed that are changed. There were people who were involved that the movie doesn't talk about for whatever reason. And we're going to be going into that as we get into the film. Um, in case anyone is wondering, the photo I'm using tonight is of a group of soldiers who were actually, in fact, there. Um, some of whom who didn't survive the battle, unfortunately. But I thought that would be a good way to kind of honor the guys who are involved with the battle, was to show you some of the real faces. Mhm.
All right, so we got the screening room all linked up. And if you guys are ready, we will take you on the extended edition of Black Hawk Down. And away we go. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, go. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah, I think you're a little bit ahead of us.
whoa! it
Re-
uh,
Rewind.
yeah.
That happens sometimes, folks. Okay, and here we go. Only the dead have seen the end of war. Plato. And of course, this opening sequence here explains the situation going on in Somalia at the time and how the United States got involved.
Hello, Taylor Swift, the greater than Disney, SW, and MCU, and Doctor Who. Welcome.
We have the situation going on, which is basically this war going on between these kind of tribal warlords and the people caught in the middle, who at this point had 300,000 that died of starvation. And in April of 93, the chief warlord, some Mohammed Farah Aidid, waited for the American Marines to leave Somalia and then attacking the UN peacekeepers.
In late
And
August, there's elite soldiers, Delta Force Army Rangers of the 160 SOAR sent. Oh, damn it. I can never read that fast.
they get sent in, and the idea is they were supposed to be there for 3 weeks, and it's 6 weeks later. And that's where we are. Yeah. Saturday, October 2nd, 1993.
1993.
Red Cross Food Distribution Center.
This really has an all-star cast and a lot of big cameos. It even has the bad guy from it even has the villain from Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. Ron Eldard, who you might remember from ER, Deep Impact. car market, which was ID's headquarters. And of course, this actor here is being detained. Who's basically ID's right hand man. Yeah, you might remember him from Raiders of the Lost Ark and also the Harry Potter films. Of course, Sam Shepard is General Garrison, American commander.
Wow. He's calling every soldier from Arkansas. They're not all from. Did he get 300,000?
300,000. Yeah.
Wow. That is a genocide.
And that's just the civilians who died of starvation. They're not talking about all the people they shot.
Yeah.
Of course, this actor here, who's Garrison's second in command, is Stephen Ford, and he's actually the son of President Ford.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mogadishu. How do you
Mogadishu
pronounce
Airport.
something?
Well,
Yeah,
Mogadishu.
Mogadishu.
Mhm. Of course, Jeremy Piven
Yeah, I was surprisingly surprised when I saw him in the film.
William Fichtner.
Yeah, this is the who's who of anybody who at that time in that day is in this film.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there's the guy from Game of Thrones who was Jaime Lannister. I never could pronounce his real name, but
Castor Alarus. He's got one
yeah,
of those long names.
Kingslayer, that guy.
Yeah. Jamie Lannister.
This was actually before Game of Thrones, so
Yeah.
nobody really knew who he, in this country anyway, really knew who he was.
Yeah.
Of course, Orlando Bloom.
Before he played young Obi-Wan.
Before
Or not Obi-Wan.
Legolas.
Legolas, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, yeah. Here's an extended scene. And of course, here's Ewan McGregor.
You have Obi-Wan commanding Legolas.
Hmm. Hmm. Of course, the chief fallacy about that scene is there's actually a couple.
And you hear
One.
Eric Anna.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I wanted to go back briefly to the scene with Blackburn and Grimes. There's a couple of fallacies there. One being that it kind of gives the impression that there was this Vietnam type rotation going on. That was not really the case. Um, in actual life,
Oh, and
the real
if you guys,
yeah.
sorry.
Now go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to point out if you've seen Sons of Anarchy, Chips, the actor who plays Chips, is in here.
Yeah.
They just showed him a while ago at the gun range.
Yeah. In actual life, Blackburn had actually been there for a little while, like a few months. He was still kind of one of the newer guys, but it wasn't this. Yeah, that was another extended scene. What's the runtime on this version? No.
2 hours and 32 minutes.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, you're only getting a few extra scenes, I think.
Okay. Of course, there's Jason Isaacs.
Right now, our timestamp is 15:14.
Hmm. Mm. 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 Mm.
I like how they have Elvis Devil in Disguise playing in the background.
Mhm.
Oh,
He's
got
behind me, isn't
redheaded
he?
doing impressions of the CEO.
Yeah.
We're watching The Jerk.
They were.
Sunday, October 3rd, 5:44 a.m. Josh Hartnett's character was just given command, and they had to send the other guy home because he's an epileptic, so they discharging him. I believe Somalia is closer to the equator, so that's why they're relatively warm still in October.
Mhm. And of course, we all know this guy, Matthew Marsden. Yeah, not with that, you're not. Nine can't be too coarse.
You all right?
Yeah, I was in ROTC, that's why.
Oh.
That was a fuck you, and yeah, so we'll take that personal. No. Nah. 'Tom Hardy. Hmm. p.m. And this guy's their informant, inside man. mister. That actress looked familiar. She was also in Gladiator.
Once the bullets stop flying, politics goes right out the window. Hey, welcome, Connie. Clearly, welcome. The link is pinned to the chat.
Money.
Both of ours. Always good to see you, Connie. Oh,
Can we get a quick timestamp there, Bill?
yeah, yeah. It is 35:03.
Okay. And of course, I do want to remind everyone that if you are watching this later and you're following along with your own physical copy or online or streaming, please remember that this is the extended version, so it is slightly
Yeah.
longer than the theatrical version.
Telling me what I want a skinny ass parked in front of the building, the right one. That's a weird call sign for the mission go. Irene. Welcome, Lady Mist. Always a pleasure to see you, Lady Mist. We are currently 35 minutes into the film. This is an extended version, and we're currently at 38-23.
Chop down the edge line. And of course, it's Voodoo Child, which was Jimi Hendrix song, but I believe that's Stevie Ray Vaughan, this version.
Yeah. They got children as scouts.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as we're going to be seeing throughout the film, children in battle.
Yeah.
You might recognize this actor as well. He was in Resident Evil 2.
Uh, I love this frame, this shot, all the Black Hawk and Cobra helicopters coming into the city. I believe those are called Cobra. The smaller helicopters are called Cobra helicopters. If you know the right answer, you can tell me. So here you have the warlords militia. They're lighting tires on fire. One guy has a football mouthpiece because he almost bit his tongue on the prior mission. It's actually a good idea.
It is, yeah. 3:42 p.m. Yeah, that's a new scene.
You had friendlies firing
Mhm.
at friendlies.
Back. Yep. Man down.
That was Legolas's character.
Yeah.
Orlando Bloom. Just now they're shooting at us. Hello, Jesse Gajardo. Welcome. How you doing?
Hey, Jesse. Watching the extended version of Black Hawk Down.
Yep. Ah, Jesse says he's watching it on Tubi. That's all right. Glad you could join us, Jesse. We are exactly 49 minutes, 49 seconds into the film, and this one we're watching is the extended edition. Well, he was propelling down the rope, and the helicopter kind of shifted to get out of the way of the RPG, and
Mhm.
he lost his grip on the rope propelling down. So that's kind of how he fell.
Yeah. Mm. That's the first of many RPGs that will be fired at Ewan McGregor during the course of the
Yeah.
movie. It's kind of a running thing.
Jesse says, from my understanding, this is a almost one to one what happened during the this event. Yeah, I mean this when the mission starts, it's action almost all the way through.
Yeah.
The kind that you definitely will grow PSD from, and you know, I can only imagine for those who did make it back from this excursion what they still go through. Oh, damn! I just got blown up.
Yeah. And of course, the first death.
You want to read this one, deleted?
Hmm. Jesse says, I still hated how Congress got involved. Then on the gunships for this mission. Um, well, yeah, man. I mean, leave it to the politicians, right?
Oh, that's it. They got the tail rotor.
Mhm.
You take out the tail rotor of a helicopter, it's pretty much flight is done with. Helicopters need those tail rotors to maintain flight. Fun fact, my Jesse says, my mom worked
Mm.
at the factory that did the electronics on the Blackhawk and the Apache. Oh, very cool,
Mm, cool.
Jesse. Thanks for
Right on.
sharing.
Hmm.
I mean, you got an M60 machine gun. That's become a Rambo. There's about a 50 cal mounted it on that truck. They're kind of outnumbered here. They got militia and civilians firing weapons at them. RPGs and AK-47s. The smaller helicopters used in the film are called an MH6, known as the Little Bird. MD helicopters called MH6 Little Birds.
Here they come.
Here where you have children firing weapons.
Mhm.
He's gone to like some type of schoolroom. It's like a teacher with impressionable youngsters in there. the young boy who was just shot his own father.
Mhm.
He was aiming for the U.S. soldier. First string of injured come to the base headquarters. Jesse says, those zombies were not made for that kind of a mission.
No.
Jesse says they should have had the M113 and the M2 Brandleys. Thank you again, Jesse, for your input. Really appreciate it. It's nice to have this interaction. Hello, Dad Man Walking. Good to see you. Out with family and dealing with things, but want to just say hi and be polite. And thank you, Dad Man. You have a great day with your family, bud. That's awesome. Jesse Gajardo says the Rangers can keep up with Delta Force, but when the shit hits the fan, it is like your grandma needed heavy armor support vehicles. Thank you again, Jesse. And I see our friend Tim has arrived.
Mhm. And that's why you don't do that.
Thank you again, Dead Man Walking. On you all to enjoy this movie and the stream. Jesse says, I can't tell if he's using an 240 or the M240 Bravo or the M249. Oh shit.
Was the second chopper getting hit?
Once again, when you lose the tail rotor, you pretty much use your flight capability. And Connie Clary has gifted one membership. Thank you, Connie. And the recipient to the membership is the Pan Wannabe. Just became a sponsor. Thank you again, Connie Clary. Very much appreciated. You're awesome, Connie.
Well,
Oh, did I miss that scene, Tim? I had to step away momentarily.
You're awesome, Connie. Thanks again.
hmm.
Oh. This is a horrible decision. Sitting decks and the militia and civilians, hostile civilians, are moving in on them.
Okay, yeah, I did miss that scene. Sorry. I do want to go back and mention something that Tim brought up here in the chat for a second, Bill. Now, when the Delta operator who gets blown in half, Chris Wexler, they call him into film, is actually based on a guy named Timothy Martin, and in real life, he did not get blown in half like that. Basically, I don't know how to describe it really. He did get hit. He did get thrown. The explosion did throw him out of the truck, but he didn't get blown in half. It basically just it basically took like a big chunk of his side out. And the bitch of that was the guy actually lasted I think until like the following evening before he passed. From what I've heard, the base was scrambling for anyone who can use a weapon. At that point, most definitely. Which is how Sizemore, who's Matthew Marsden's character, not to confuse him with Tom Sizemore,
Yeah.
the character of Sizemore, the fellow who broke his arm previous to the mission starting. That's how he winds up kind of going out anyway, because hey, he's still got one hand.
Yeah. But he wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And we have friendly fire coming into play.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you, come to me. He's dead because a grenade went off near his head, but didn't kill him. Already fire that weapon. I can hear bells ringing.
Mm. Hey, he's a Jedi. He'll be fine.
And if the actor playing the pilot of the chopper with the snipers on board looks familiar, that's Boyd Kestner, and we've seen him recently in during Western Cinema Sundays in Appaloosa. Mm.
Huh.
Mm.
Everybody's not
Yeah.
driving the Jeep. Yeah, a guy's just got an RPG stuck in the middle of him, you know. It still may explode.
And actually happened. Yeah. That's like the one bullet that gets near him in the whole movie. He just sort of walks around him through the whole kind of first half, and then that ricochet gets him. And if you ever get the chance, listen to the commentary track uh, by the soldiers that were really there. Um,
This is not a situation anybody wants to be in. I don't care who you are. You have enemy forces closing in on you, and you're outnumbered and essentially outgunned too. In real life, 2 men Delta Force sniper men team did volunteer and go into the secure the second crash site, and because of that determination and heroism, they were awarded the Medal of Honor. Yeah, Tim, it was kind of a last stand Alamo situation. "4:54 p.m."
Mhm.
Our current timestamp is 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 45 seconds. Only shoot at what you can hit. Yes, damn right. So they need clear line of sight.
Mhm.
Shit.
They're fortifying their positions.
There were mistakes made in the scene involving the costumes.
Oh, I'm sure there were.
Looking a picture of his wife and kid.
Hmm.
Oh, jeez, man.
And this actor you're going to see coming up here was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, not this guy. The other one. This guy. Hmm.
Jesse says, as for the helicopter pilot that would be captured and the document of the enemy activates on his
Yeah,
level.
that's also true. The movie, I don't believe the movie shows that at all. But yeah, that was true. Um, and this is finally when the Deltas, the ones that are left, basically say, "Okay, fuck this shit. We're going in. You know, we're getting this done."
5:55 p.m.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm. And the medic there, Wilkinson, is played by Ty Burrell, who you might remember from Modern Family and the Zack Snyder version of Dawn of the Dead.
Yep.
Now, here's where another thing that the movie kind of changes events. You hear him mention Di Tommaso there. Now, in real life, Eversman had already been evacuated. Um, he left with the convoy, and this is the part of the movie where they show Eversman doing some of the things that in real life Di Tommaso did. But since the movie, the filmmakers kind of decided they were going to kind of make Eversman the audience character, so to speak. They kind of followed him through the movie instead. That's why I say, for as good as this movie is, do go back and read the book by Mark Bowden and see the documentary that the History Channel did. And also listen to the commentary on the DVD from the real life soldiers, and you kind of get an idea that way the things that the movie changed or compressed or left out.
Hollywood was being Hollywood. They can never get it right. Pretty much, yeah. But
Well, it wasn't so much, Jesse, Hollywood not getting it right. You you had, as far as the American forces were concerned, you had 100 men on the ground, and then, of course, once the 10th Mountain gets involved, you also have the Malaysians and the Pakistanis, and the movie is not going to does not have the time to depict all of that, so things have to be left out. There are people who get and I think kind of rightfully so, upset over the fact that the Malaysians and the Pakistanis and their contribution to the operation doesn't really get talked about in the film, if at all. Um, that's one of the things this kind of fell by the wayside, because if I remember correctly, one of the Malaysians was killed during the course of this. Yeah, and that's another thing. Is that they changed the names of a lot of the Delta guys too, because partially for the reason Tim brings up here. So that changes. Ewan McGregor's character is based on a few different people.
like Argo, they made British
Well,
and New Zealand look bad.
the thing in Argo is the Argo leaves out a lot of what the Canadians did to get the people from the embassy out. So again, Argo, good movie, fun movie to watch. It leaves a lot of stuff out, a lot. You know, so go back and the British and New Zealand embassies helped. Yes, they did. And like I said, the film does leave them out. It leaves a lot of what the Canadians did out. That's what it is. This is part of what I was talking about. When it comes to special forces, they can never disclose their names until it's declassified by the government. Yeah.
Welcome, Curtis Shelby. Our timestamp is 1 hour, 50 minutes, 28 seconds. They have on one of those little bird AH-6 helicopters saying that fight through the night. We're coming to get you.
And the fellow playing Doc Schmidt here, he played Will Graham in the Hannibal TV series, and was also in King Arthur, the one with Clive Owen and Brantley.
The surgeon just said,
Actually, there were a
I can't give you
couple
I
of
can't
actors.
give you no more morphine because we need you
Yeah.
awake.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, oh. Yeah, indeed, it would be a very hard job to do.
Mm.
Your dad's cut. Tim says his dad's cousin who was a desktop pilot in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
I believe we had
Mm-hmm.
he was making coffee.
Yeah, Grimes winds up with the Deltas, and basically he's been walking around with like this golf ball sized piece of shrapnel on his foot through the whole thing. Now here's where guy from Resident Evil's playing this guy who in real life was referred to as Sunglasses, who was this guy who actually was seen at both of the crash sites. And he's leading this particular attack here. And of course, here comes Hoot with the other Delta team.
Yeah, I don't think he could have used his lightsaber. He's not in a galaxy far, far away in this one.
Oh, Bunny, Bubble.
Now that's the way to do it. Then they just destroy the weapon they just used.
Yep.
Yes, Tim. That look of oh shit, you're dead. Yeah. Fuck you kindly, sir. We're
Yeah.
going out.
Yeah.
We're going to go get our Rangers. We never leave a man behind. That's the motto. Never leave a man behind. 11:23 p.m. That is the motto of the geek military. Never leave your buddies behind. He's gone. Too much loss of blood.
Yes. Let's.
Hey, welcome, Big Al. Dropping in for a thumbs up. Thank you, Big Al.
Blow out.
Look at all that brass. Make it count. "2:05 a.m. Tim says they must be on God mode. It's just what they just say. Welcome to the party. Yeah. What they do next is almost mission impossible to believe.
Mm.
I need an honest, no shit assessment. No one gets left behind.
Next morning.
Jesse says this is true. The convoy lifted the Rangers. behind, and the Rangers Delta Force had to run back and forth in the friendly line.
Yeah, that's true.
Casualty of war, a young child in an old man's arms. They should have shot her.
No. Civilian.
Well, sometimes those civilians are like bomb.
Now, this one who picks up a weapon. Yeah.
That's the thing. She picked up the weapon and decided
Well,
to shoot at
the woman who was running away, you don't shoot her, but the woman who picked the weapon, you shoot that one. So you have two right in a row there of situations where in one you can't fire and you don't need to, and one where you absolutely do have to. And I'm glad that the movie showed that.
Yeah.
You know, because, and I'm going to go off on a bit of a rant here for a second. There's a film critic named Owen Gleiberman. He's still around. He called this a racist movie. And here was his explanation for why. And this is going to show you just exactly how closely he not only was not paying attention to this movie, but not paying attention to really Somalia at all. He said that this was a racist movie because it was white American soldiers gunning down black people. Why? He said, why did all of the Somalis have to be black?
God.
Because they are, you know. And then you said, well, why did all of the soldiers have to be white? Well, they weren't, you know.
No, they showed that too,
and they show that, you know. You know, it was a unit that at that particular point in time didn't have a whole lot of blacks or Hispanics, but they're there. You see Kurth, who's Gabriel Cassius's character. He's black. Ruiz is Hispanic. There's there was a black soldier that got killed. You know, so there. You know, it's there. It's just pay attention to what you're fucking watching, and maybe do some research into, you know, what really happened before you go mouthing off about being racist, you know?
Yeah.
Film critic don't know shit when it comes to war. They don't know these parts of the world. No, exactly. You know.
Yeah. Hurry up, hurry up. Tom Sizemore was a lot of these military films.
He did, yeah. Because he was also around the same time Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
He's also in Pearl Harbor, and he
Yep.
kind of did like a bunch of war movies kind of in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying in an interview that it's not like he didn't intend to be like Joe War movie or something. You know, it's just that, hey, I picked the best scripts I was given, and they all just happen to be war movies. You know, so it's kind of like, okay.
The general's trying to wipe blood from
Yeah.
the floor. One of his.
Which was also a true occurrence.
Don't go thoroughly well.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember when my dad first saw this movie, and he was talking about Captain Steele there, and he says, I didn't like that guy. Now suddenly I do. And I can't feel a thing. It's called morphine.
Eric Bana's character's going back in
Mm-hmm.
to collect wounded.
Because remember, at this point, they have not recovered the snipers, and Durant is still out there.
Yeah. About the man next to you. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm better on my own. Lone wolf.
Yeah.
have children playing on the downed Black Hawk.
Do you want me to read this ending bit here?
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. During the raid, over 1,000 Somalis died and 19 American soldiers lost their lives. Chief Warrant Officer Donovan Briley, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bush, Specialist James Cavaco, Staff Sergeant William Cleveland, Staff Sergeant Thomas Field, Sergeant First Class Earl Fillmore, Chief Warrant Officer Raymond Frank, Master Sergeant Gary Gordon, Sergeant Cornell Houston, Sergeant Casey Joyce, Private First Class Richard Kowalewski, Private First Class James Martin, Master Sergeant Tim Grizz Martin, Sergeant Dominic Pilla, Sergeant First Class Matt Ryerson, Sergeant Rosa Ruiz, Sergeant First Class Randy Shugart, Corporal Jamie Smith, and Chief Warrant Officer Cliff Elvis Walcott. Delta Sergeants Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart were the first soldiers to receive the Medal of Honor posthumously since the Vietnam War. Michael Durant was released after 11 days of captivity. 2 weeks later, President Clinton withdrew Delta Force and the Rangers from Somalia. Major General William F. Garrison accepted full responsibility for the outcome of the raid. On October 2nd, 1996, warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid was killed in Mogadishu. Hold on, I missed that last bit there. I'm going to rewind that back. On August 2nd, 1996, warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid was killed in Mogadishu. And after receiving that news, General Garrison retired. And here's something that you might get a bit of a kick out of. In real life, Aidid got killed by his own men eventually.
Okay.
All right. All right, folks. Well, that was the extended version of Black Hawk Down. That was my first time seeing that version, and I think I like it a little bit better, to be honest.
Huh. Yeah. Directed by Ridley Scott.
Mhm.
That's understandable, Curtis. Shall we consult the scrolls?
We will. All right. Black Hawk Down was released January 18th, 2002. Nationwide. I think they put it out like a little bit before to because it was kind of around Oscar time. Had an estimated budget of 92 million and made over 180 million worldwide. All right. Winner of 2 Oscars, another 9 wins, and 37 nominations, including a Best DVD Special Edition release at the Saturn Awards. Nominated for 5 AFI awards, including Best Picture, Director, Cinematography, Editing, and Production Design. At the Oscars, there were 4 nominations with 2 wins: Film Editing and Sound, nominated for Cinematography, and Ridley Scott was nominated as Best Director. And it was shot in Morocco, in and around Rabat, Sales, Sidi Moussa, and the Kenitra Air Base. Trivia items. There are 101. So I'm going to pick out along the way what we have. All right. All right. All the Blackhawks and Little Birds used during the filming were from the 160th SOAR, Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and most of the pilots were involved in the actual battle. On 3 and 4 October 1993, a lot of the Army Rangers in the film were actual Rangers. serving with the 375 Ranger Regiment. The photo of a wife and child that one of the soldiers is looking at is actually a photo of Eric Bana's wife and child. The props department forgot to take a photo of a wife and child with him, so asked Bana's wife and child, who were traveling with him, if they could use a photo of them in the film. Despite the fact that Ken Nolan is the only credited writer, there were others who contributed uncredited. Sam Shepard wrote some pages of dialogue, but they were not used. Eric Roth wrote crucial speeches for Josh Hartnett, and Eric Bana to deliver in the closing minutes. Steven Zalian made a dialogue-driven rewrite, and Stephen Gaghan did one rewrite early on in development. Nolan was the writer on the set for 4 months and worked on the script for over 2 years. Prior to WGA arbitration, promotional materials for the film, such as theatrical posters, credited the screenplay to both Nolan and Zalian. This was later changed to award sole credit to Nolan. Disney passed on distributing this film because of its violent R rating. Its eventual distributor, Revolution, is run by ex-Disney Studios chairman Joe Roth. This project was originally the idea of director Simon West, who urged producer Jerry Bruckheimer to obtain the rights to the book with a view to directing it himself. However, West felt pretty exhausted after working on Lara Croft Tomb Raider that he wanted to take a rest, so he dropped out. West later said that his decision was a mistake. Josh Hartnett, Tom Sizemore, Ewan Bremner, William Fichtner, and Kim Coates all worked together previously on Pearl Harbor. The Department of Defense gave the producer a platoon of Army Rangers who did the fast rope scenes. Some of the scenes on the monitors behind Major General Garrison were actual satellite images of the battle. 40 of the actors who were playing Rangers were sent to Fort Benning, Georgia, to attend a 2-week crash course in becoming Rangers. 15 actors playing Delta Force members were sent to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and were given a 2-week commando course by members of the 1st Special Warfare Training Group. Eldred went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and was given a lecture by several Little Bird and Black Hawk pilots, including the real-life Mike Durant, about flying and battle. On the last day of their week-long Army Ranger orientation at Fort Benning, the actors who played Rangers received a letter that had been anonymously slipped under their door. The letter thanked them all for their hard work and asked them to, quote, tell our story true, signed with the names of the Rangers who died in the Mogadishu firefight. The massive shoot of the target building insert sequence was intended to be among the first sequences shot in principal photography due to its complex nature. However, negotiations to borrow 4 Black Hawk helicopters, it's going to get loud a second here, folks. Pardon me. All right. However, negotiations to borrow 4 Black Hawk helicopters from the United States military were so arduous that an agreement was not reached until a month after shooting commenced. Director Ridley Scott had prepared a rental of 4 Hueys from Germany that were ready to be painted black and work as substitutes in the event an agreement with the U.S. Department of Defense could not be reached. Fortunately, the DoD was eventually satisfied that the film would portray the incident in a positive light and ship the helicopters to the location in 2 C-5 Galaxy transports. Ridley Scott says this was very fortunate for the film, since the title is Black Hawk Down, and Hueys have no resemblance to Black Hawks.
No, they don't.
No. Yeah, if that had happened, they were going to call this movie Huey Down. True story.
Yeah.
But they would have had to, because
Yeah.
clearly. 2 of the Black Hawk helicopters used in the film were named the Armageddon after the film Armageddon, the film produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and The Gladiator after the film Gladiator, directed by Ridley Scott. Bruckheimer believed this to be a sign of good luck.
Wow.
I almost don't know whether to read this one or not, but okay.
Yeah, go for it.
This is something I partially brought up during the show. I mentioned that Ewan McGregor's character's name was changed from the name of the real life guy. Here's why. Specialist Grimes, played by Ewan McGregor, is a fictional character, though given his administrative position and penchant for coffee, he's unabashedly based on the real-life Ranger Clerk Specialist John Stebbins, who was awarded the Silver Star for his actions during the battle. However, Stebbins was convicted in 2000 for... let's just say doing something with somebody younger that he shouldn't have been doing. Let's put it that way.
Boy.
And he is currently serving a 30-year prison term. As a result, the Pentagon apparently pressured screenwriters to alter his name in the film, although a spokeswoman for the film defended the change as a creative decision made by the producers. As the soldiers prepare to take off, Walcott plays a version of Voodoo Child's Slight Return in the helicopter. This version was performed by Stevie Ray Vaughan, who died in a helicopter crash. Yeah.
Wow.
Another bit of irony there, folks. The movie opens with a quote from Plato, "Only the dead have seen an end to war." An earlier cut of the movie opened with a quote from T.S. Eliot, "All our ignorance brings us closer to death." The sequence of events near the end of the film, where some of the U.S. Rangers were forced to run unprotected behind a rescue convoy, did indeed happen. This unfortunate turn of events was named by the soldiers after the battle as the Mogadishu Mile. Ben Foster was originally going to play Corporal Jamie Smith, the guy who dies from the leg wound. But he was injured while the actors were doing basic training, and he had to drop out of the film. Of course, Ben Foster, we've seen him here in 3:10 to Yuma. He's in 30 Days of Night, which also has Josh Hart in it. And also Lone Survivor. Yeah. The donkey that Sergeant Ed Urick briefly pets almost didn't make it into the film because of budget cuts. In fact, during the rewriting and re-editing of the script, screenwriter Ken Nolan found a note by Ridley Scott saying, "I missed the donkey." The donkey was eventually kept. Some of the radio chatter in the film was taken from actual radio transmissions made during the battle. Ridley Scott offered Russell Crowe the role of Sergeant Norm Houghton, the Delta Squad leader. However, Crowe had to turn the role down due to scheduling conflicts with Ron Howard's A Beautiful Mind. Crowe, a huge fan of the film Chopper, strongly recommended that Eric Bana take the role in his place.
Good choice.
Yes. A large number of the actors who played American soldiers are actually from different countries. Yeah, wait till you see Band of Brothers. You know. All right.
Yeah.
The list includes Ewan McGregor, Scotland. Eric Bana is Australian. Kim Coates is Canadian. Ian Griffith is Welsh. Ewan Bremner is Scottish. Jason Isaacs is English. Sergio Ivanek is from Slovenia. Jamie Lannister, I'm not going to fuck up his name. He's Danish. Tom Hardy is English. Matthew Marsden is British. Orlando Bloom, English. And Hugh Dancy, also British. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of these guys were Brits, Scots, and Australians, guys. None of the film was shot in Somalia, well, for obvious reasons, and no Somali actors were actually included in the cast. Mark Bowden, a staff reporter on the Philadelphia Inquirer, first detailed the disastrous 1993 Mogadishu raid in a serialized 29-part story that appeared in the paper during November and December of 1997. This was expanded into a book the following year. In order to keep the film at a manageable length, 100 key characters in the book were condensed down to 39. When screenwriter Ken Nolan first read Mark Bowden's book, he was so determined to work on the film version that he called up the studio and said, "I'll do anything. I'll wash Jerry Bruckheimer's car."
Wow.
Ridley Scott had to drop his original ending as he found it to be too pedantic and boring. I wonder what it was. This is the first collaboration between Ridley Scott and Jerry Bruckheimer. However, the producer also worked with Ridley's brother, Tony Scott, on Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Days of Thunder, Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, and Deja Vu. The documentary, The Essence of Combat, Making Black Hawk Down, that appears on the DVD is actually longer than the film itself. So's Dangerous Days, the one they do, the documentary for Blade Runner, is actually is longer than the film as well. Although this was released to a wave of patriotic fervor, it was actually completed long before the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. This was Eric Bana's U.S. film debut. He found the experience to be an ultra-realistic one and said he frequently forgot that they were only making a film. 19 U.S. soldiers died in the incident depicted in the film. The number of Somalis who died during the battle has been estimated between 500 and 2,000. Jesse is asking in the chat, was there a book based on the making of the film? Don't know. Not that I'm aware of. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. My advice would be maybe go to Amazon and look, because they would likely have it if there is. Originally slated to open on March 1st, 2002. However, following successful test screenings in October 2001, that release was bumped up to January, with special screenings arranged in December to help the film qualify for Academy Award consideration. Unlike Ridley Scott's previous film, G.I. Jane, this production received the full cooperation of the U.S. military.
That's
18
cool.
hours of combat is compressed into less than 3 hours of screen time. While Ridley Scott was wrapping up post-production on Hannibal, pre-production and location scouting were already underway for this film. Soldiers of the Royal Moroccan Army played the Somali militiamen. The opening sequence that depicts numerous starving Somalis actually utilizes rubber bodies to present the dying Africans. Some of the bodies had a hose inserted into them through which air was pumped to simulate the appearance of breathing. Josh Hartnett was cast largely at the suggestion of Jerry Bruckheimer, who had just worked with him on Pearl Harbor. Hartnett was not overly keen on appearing in another blockbuster too soon after the film with Michael Bay, but the strength of the material and the opportunity of working with Ridley Scott soon persuaded him otherwise. A lot of dust seen swirling around underneath the Black Hawks was computer generated. Real dust would have been too prevalent and would have obscured the action, so the ground was dampened before filming to reduce the amount of dust. The Black Hawk going down, spiraling as it crash lands, was achieved largely through real, skillful flying of the helicopter with some CGI augmentation. The minute it hits the ground, however, the rotors are computer generated. Nelson says to Twombly, just don't fire that thing so close to my head. I can barely hear as it is. Bremner actually, Ewan Bremner plays Nelson, actually partially lost his hearing because of all of the gunfire. He eventually recovered from it. The set was constantly bothered by stray dogs running into shots. Ridley Scott kept them in because he liked the authentic feel of their presence. Dogs were adopted by various members of the production and were eventually brought back to the U.S. with them.
That's cool.
There was no effort made to cast actors who look like their real-life counterparts. This is one of George W. Bush's favorite films. I wonder what Clinton thought. Ba-dum-boom. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Mohammed Farah Aidid, the powerful Somali warlord who was the raid's main target, died on the 2nd of August 1996. Major General William Garrison retired from the Army the next day. It says that at the end of the film. Yeah. Brendan Sexton III, who played Private Kowalewski, the guy who dies from getting the rocket stuck in him, was unhappy working on the film because it conflicted with his views on U.S. foreign policy in general, and specifically with regard to U.S. actions in Somalia, both before and during the 1992-93 peacekeeping operations there. He told Salon.com after the film opened that he and another actor improvised a scene with anti-imperialist materials, but it was all cut from the film before it was released. Because the fucking movie isn't about you, son. Get over yourself, move on. The nickname given to the Somalis by the Rangers, Skinnies, does not actually refer to the famine and rampant malnutrition in Somalia. It is the nickname given to an alien race in Robert Heinlein's novel Starship Troopers, which was a popular book passed around the battalion and is on the required reading list at West Point. The Rangers felt that Somali culture was so strange that they seemed to be from another planet. The Skinnies do not appear in the film version of Starship Troopers. Curtis says, I notice at the end that they don't say anything critical of Clinton. No. That's the part of the film that I find interesting, is the fact that the movie politically doesn't take sides. It merely shows the heroism of the day. The movie's about the soldiers. It's not about the politics.
Yeah.
Which is why anytime one of the actors tried to interject politics into the movie, that shit got cut out. That's why. Okay.
One of the reasons why we're doing all these war films this month, because I feel one day isn't enough to memorialize those uncles, brothers, and fathers who did not return from the battlefield. So this is a month-long remembrance of those who did not come back.
All right. I'll read a few more of these off. I'm getting all of these from IMDb Pro. So if you have access to IMDb Pro, you can find all of these. Despite the seemingly chaotic action, Ridley Scott kept to his method of storyboarding each shot in the film in advance. According to American Sniper Chris Kyle, this film is shown to U.S. Navy Special Forces recruits to inspire them before they begin the Hell Week stage of their SEAL training. Michael Madsen was originally offered the role of Danny McKnight, which was played by Tom Sizemore, but was forced to turn the role down because of scheduling conflicts with another film. In Gofina's helicopter, there was actually a third sniper who stayed behind because the crew chief had been shot. Gofina's Black Hawk was hit and took off some of Brad Howling's leg. He was the sniper who stayed on board the chopper. Ouch.
This is why you tell your actors to shut up.
Yeah.
And Lady Miss put in a link to bloopers and inner look at the masterpiece of Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. Thank you, Lady Mist.
Okay. The mission code word Irene is from the Greek word for peace. The mineral water bottles used for drinking and filling the canteens before the raid are of an Israeli manufacturer called My Eden. No women are credited in the cast list, but Gianna Fascio, I probably messed up her name, sorry, ma'am, who plays Schuckart's wife, picking up his phone call too late, was director Ridley Scott's partner. They married 14 years later in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of female soldiers out there.
Mm-hmm. Captain Steele uses the word chalk. Chalk is a group of soldiers assigned to a specific aircraft flight. The term came from the D-Day invasion, for which the flight numbers for the paratroopers or glider teams were written on each soldier's back in chalk. Master Sergeant Norman Hooton, who was played by Eric Bana, retired after a 20-year career in the Army, joining the Federal Air Marshal Service, then working as a contractor overseas. After this, concerned by the high rate of opioid addictions and suicides among returning vets, he studied medicine. Dr. Hooton is now a full-time medical specialist at the Orlando VA Medical Center, focusing on PTSD and other combat-related disorders, as well as drug abuse. Okay. Here's a couple more. General Pervez Musharraf, former Pakistani president from 2001 to 2008, in his autobiography, said that the film ignored the contribution of Pakistani soldiers who helped rescue U.S. soldiers in real life. Yes, we mentioned that. That's also true.
You want to read this one from Chris Shelby?
Yes. Heinlein's experience in the U.S. Navy exerted a strong influence on his character and writing. In 1929, he graduated from the Naval Academy with the equivalent of a Bachelor of Arts in Engineering. Okay, here's one more that may be of interest. Okay, 18 soldiers lost their lives during the raid. The epilogue lists 19. 16 of the soldiers who died were Army Rangers and Delta Force members or Task Force 160 aircrew. There are also 2 soldiers, PFC James Martin from 214th Infantry and Sergeant Cornell Houston from the 41st Engineers Battalion, which was attached to 14th 10th Mountain Division, who died during the battles of 3-4 October. A combined task force of the 214, along with the members of the 41st Engineers Army Unit, were sent in to rescue the Rangers. Matt Ryerson, who's also on the list, died 2 days after the battle when the Somali mortarmen bombarded the base, as they did every evening, usually to no effect. A Malaysian soldier and a Pakistani soldier who were part of the rescue convoy were also killed during the fighting. When Orlando Bloom auditioned for the role, he informed the casting directors that he knew what it was like to break his back, as he had done so only a couple of years before that, climbing out on a drain pipe from a friend's flat. His character in this movie breaks his back after falling from the helicopter. In the movie, Private Blackburn's fall is a result of the pilot twisting the helicopter to avoid an incoming RPG, and Sergeant Eversman watches him fall. In the book, Mark Bowden makes no mention of this occurring, and the circumstances of Blackburn's fall may have been altered for dramatic effect. The book contains only speculation as to possible reasons, namely Blackburn missing or losing his grip on the fast rope, and Sergeant Eversman only discovered Blackburn lying on the ground shortly after the fact. Gary Gordon and Randy Shughart were the first 2 men since the Vietnam War to posthumously receive the Medal of Honor. And despite being the main villain, Somali warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid is never shown or depicted by an actor at any point in the movie. All right, and that's just some of the trivia that you can find on IMDb Pro for Black Hawk Down.
Thank you for that, deleted scenes.
Mm-hmm.
We got more from Curtis Shelby.
Mhm.
And then also served as a gunnery officer aboard the destroyer USS Roper in 1933 and 1934. Researching lieutenant, his brother Lawrence Aline served in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force. Thank you, Curtis Shelby. Well, I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening.
Mhm.
Curtis Shelby, Lady Miss, Connie Clary, Jessica Hardoto, Dad Man Walking 55. FKHC 2005, Tim.
Mhm.
Big Al Presents. And did I miss anybody?
I believe that was everybody who joined us.
DJ Play Nice.
In the chat.
Also.
DJ Play Nice, yes. Was it with this?
Had to double check. Thank you all for being here. Tomorrow we'll continue forth with Mother's Day, special Western cinema. We will be playing The Horse Whisper. If you'd like to join us here on both channels, the Lead Scenes channel will be simulcasted.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be watching The Horse Whisper with Robert Redford. and a very young brain fart. Help me out,
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. So we'll be playing that tomorrow in our Western Cinema time slot. I will be hosting some karaoke later on tonight. If anybody wants to drop by and say hello. With that, I will say my parting words. Remember to be excellent to one another and party on. And we can't wait to see you in the next one. And I'll give it over to Deleted Scenes now.
All right. Join me later on this evening. I will be a guest on Netters Network's Retro Cinema. And we are going to be watching the Academy Award winning The Departed.
Very
Leonardo
good.
DiCaprio,
Martin
Matt
Scorsese.
Damon, Jack Nicholson, and Mark Wahlberg. Directed by Martin Scorsese, the movie where he finally got the Oscar. He had to do a gangster movie in Boston. He had to move out of New York to get the Oscar. But yeah, it is a remake of a Hong Kong film entitled Infernal Affairs. So join us later on tonight. Netters Network's Retro Cinema.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern.
So, out of a
Yeah.
10 score, what do you rate
what do I rate the movie? I would say 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm about 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's very good. Parting words?
All right. I would once again like to thank everyone who joined us in the chat, those who were lurking in the background, because there's always one or two. That's perfectly fine. You do not have to engage in the chat, just as long as you enjoyed the show. Hit the like, share out the stream, and if you are new to mine or Bill's channel, or the channels of anyone in our chat, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications. We will be back, same bat time, same bat channel. From HQ and our second home office in Arizona, and all points, north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.
Later, folks.